Finalmente, viajaremos al campo para descubrir una colección verdaderamente excepcional de muebles, jarros y colchas de principios del siglo XIX. Todos ellos son los coleccionables de esta semana, antigüedades rústicas.
I like the link with history, the past, the feeling of old. I'm definitely a diehard Incurable collector.
Hoy nos encontramos en el hogar de un director de cine de Hollywood y coleccionista incurable, Wheeler Carroll. En esta casa se hallan magníficas piezas que son recuerdos del Mago de Oz. Esto, el reloj de arena, el original de la película, uno de los artículos más valiosos de la película clásica, es solo uno de los notables artículos que Wheeler compartirá con nosotros al mostrarnos su colección. Observen. Hacia Oz. Un recorrido por la enorme casa de estilo español de Wheeler Carroll es tan fascinante como un paseo por la propia ciudad Esmeralda. Hay 500 anuncios y obras artísticas originales de la película, incluidas entre más de 20.000 piezas de recuerdos de los más de 100 años de Oz. También tiene uno de los pocos libretos originales sobrevivientes de una de las películas más aclamadas de la historia.
This was the working copy of Mervyn LeRoy's assistant. Mervyn LeRoy was the producer of the film, and this is actually 3 different drafts that have been sort of cut and pasted together with his notations.
Pero este director de Los Ángeles no solo posee un valioso libreto de la película, también es dueño de algunos trajes usados por Judy Garland durante las primeras 2 semanas de rodaje. Wheeler también posee el reloj de arena original del Castillo de la Bruja.
When I was a child, the thing that I wanted the most from the movie was the hourglass. So about 10 years ago, it came up for auction and was something that I sort of had to have.
Wheeler pagó nada menos que $70,000 por el icono de la película.
I called my mother and I said, Mom, I just bought, this hourglass and, it costs more than your house. And there was silence, and then my mother said, well, you always wanted that hourglass. Which I thought was a great mom thing to say.
Para Carroll, la pasión por Oz ha sido casi de toda la vida.
I'm from Maryland, a very, very tiny town, and I always say that Oz was my first contact with the outside world. I think it also was the thing that motivated me to go into the movie business.
La colección de Carroll también incluye ejemplares sumamente raros de la serie de libros.
This is the original book poster for the Wonderful Wizard of Oz from 1900, so this is now 101 years old.
El anuncio, cuyo valor estimado está entre $40,000 y $60,000, es un ejemplo de hasta dónde puede llegar a Wheeler para invertir en su pasión.
It was a way also, as I grew older, to sort of have an investment that I cared about. Stocks and bonds never really did it for me, but this was something that was tangible and of interest, and also something that I think I can sort of help protect for posterity.
La colección de Wheeler contiene tantos artículos raros y únicos que a menudo recibe solicitudes de exhibiciones privadas.
This was the Lollipop Guild Munchkin costume that was worn by Jerry Marin, who was 16 years old at the time. And he is still with us, luckily, and he's actually been here several times. And I showed it to him, and he looked at it, and he looked at me, and he said, Willard, I just can't believe I was ever that small.
Este es el centro de la colección, tal vez la más delicada primera edición del maravilloso Mago de Oz en existencia.
This is a first edition, first state, which refers to textual points within the book. It's also even more rare because the publisher's imprint, which is on the bottom, George Hill, is in green on this copy. There were only about 50 copies off the press. They decided while the print run was going on to change that to red because they thought it would read better. So this is the rarest of the rare. To another collector is anywhere from, $60,000 to $100,000.
Para Wheeler, coleccionar significaba mantener correspondencia con otros coleccionistas de Oz. Según Carroll, eso fue reemplazado por páginas de internet como eBay.
I start my day and end with it. I get up every morning, I sort of scroll through my interests, but probably not more than an hour, and I buy something almost every day. It's sort of like every day you get like a gift to yourself, which is certainly the way I look at it. Well, it's a book. Oh, actually, I know what this is. This is actually the first Hebrew edition of The Wizard of Oz from, I believe, the 40s.
La edición hebrea del Mago de Oz será catalogada y archivada junto a más de 700 ediciones extranjeras en 60 idiomas, desde francés y ruso hasta chino. Ciertamente, los personajes e ilustraciones de los libros han tenido un atractivo duradero para Wheeler, tanto como entretenimiento como un área de apasionada colección.
I am an incurable collector. That's actually a very sort of kind phrase. I think that
¿Y cómo se considera?
totally nuts.
Las posesiones de Oz más preciadas para Wheeler son estas ilustraciones para niños creadas en 1903 por W. Deslow, la misma persona que ilustró el primer libro de El maravilloso mago de Oz. Wheeler también tiene algunas otras asombrosas colecciones de recuerdos de Hollywood, que estaremos mostrando durante el programa. Díganme, ¿qué se obtiene al mezclar una bola de hilo, la cabeza de una muñeca y un manojo de tarjetas de béisbol? Aunque parezca increíble, son 3 clases de objetos cuyas ventas llegan a más de $250,000. ¿Puede creer que se gastaron $8,250 en una bola de hilo? Cuando el afamado restaurante Hausner de Baltimore cerró sus puertas, subastadores organizaron una venta de recuerdos del local. Se incluyó esta enorme bola de hilo de las servilletas. Formada por generaciones enteras de empleados, la pelota ahora mide 1,20 m y pesa 308 kilogramos. ¿Puede creer que se pagaron $34,500 por la cabeza de una muñeca vieja? De solo 20 centímetros y carente de la nariz, esta cabeza de muñeca fue una gran atracción en una subasta de arte folclórico de Skinner. Bellamente tallada con madera de pino, esta pequeña dama se remonta a principios del siglo XIX. ¿Puede creer que un coleccionista gastó $225,433 en muchas tarjetas de béisbol viejas? Producidas por Old Josh Cigarette entre 1887 y 1890, las tarjetas, 623 en total, se vendieron en una subasta de finos recuerdos deportivos de Masternet. Con una extraordinaria muestra de jugadores del siglo XIX, estas tarjetas de béisbol se encuentran en condiciones realmente excepcionales. ¿Puede creerlo? Al regreso en el Coleccionista Incurable, objetos del campo muy antiguos, desde mesas y sillas hasta alfombras y colchas.
It's a 19th century Amish quilt, and it is velvet, silk, cotton, and wool. It has a lot of texture and color, and it's quite rare.
Los coleccionables de esta semana son antigüedades countries. Al regreso, los coleccionistas convergen en San Francisco para asistir a una subasta de elementos arquitectónicos artísticos. Eso y más en la edición de hoy de El Coleccionista Incurable. Si usted es un coleccionista incurable y quisiera hacer algún comentario o compartir alguna idea, visite la página en internet del Coleccionista Incurable. Regresamos. Estamos en el hogar del coleccionista incurable Wheeler Carroll. Además de su colección de Oz, tiene más de 500 piezas de recuerdo de una película animada de 1939, Los viajes de Gulliver. Los artículos incluyen vasos, muñecas originales, aparatos mecánicos, rompecabezas, un radio y un anuncio original de cuando se presentó en Belsen, Texas. ¿Su favorito? Es este barco de juguete. Ahora navegaremos por las costas de California para conocer a unos coleccionistas en la ciudad de la Bahía. Todos tienen diseños maravillosos y realmente únicos de naturaleza arquitectónica en su vasta. Formando una colección.
I think the stained glass windows have caught my eye. You know, that's one of my weaknesses and passion.
We always set limits, but we never tend to keep them.
If I love a piece for myself, I'm going to have it no matter what. And if it's right, I may never see it again, so I've got to grab it when I have a chance.
Un jardín único y las antigüedades arquitectónicas atrajeron a centenares de coleccionistas y distribuidores a San Francisco con diseños que añadir literalmente a su colección.
Well, see, it's been repaired here, and it's been cracked, and there's a crack here. There's some stained glass pieces that we're very interested in today because we're actually thinking about expanding the house and having a second floor. There are some places that ideally we could build in stained glass.
Here we go. Who'll give me $200 bill for that door?
La subasta de casi 1,000 artículos únicos ofrecidos por San Francisco Antique Building Materials Company presenta elementos de grandes dimensiones como puertas y ventanas de vitrales, enormes recipientes de hierro, muebles franceses y chimeneas.
They are one of a kind, and sometimes you just can't get them built and look the same. And a lot of people prefer the patinas and the craftsmanship of the old products, which are very hard to obtain these days.
Una de las estrellas de la exhibición resulta ser un ángel.
There's a lot of interest these days in angels, and specifically, that's one of the pieces. That can go anywhere from about $12,000 to about $35,000.
El coleccionista y distribuidor Ken Gordon England ha venido para iniciar su propia colección con piezas que han sido cuidadosamente elaboradas.
I can tell you what my heart is. When I look at a piece that's 200 years old or 100 years old, perhaps a piece of furniture that someone's taken an entire year to carve and create, that to me is part of history. That to me is a part of that person's soul in there.
Give me $1,000, entire set, $1,000, all in and all done.
Ya que muchas de las piezas son enormes, la subasta se realiza a pie a lo largo del almacén. Los coleccionistas se acercan al subastador a medida que este recorre las hileras de estatuas, fuentes de bronce y lámparas.
Sold for $350, bidder $389.
En minutos se torna obvio. England está preparado para la batalla y su objetivo es el espectacular vitral.
20A is a stained glass fleur-de-lis Gothic arch-top window. 200, 225, but 250, now 50, now 50, now 50, now 75, 300, 300, but 325, but 375, 4, 100, but 425, but 425, 400, but 425, sold for 400, bidder 389, 389, 389, 389, sold 1400, bidder 389, right there, 300.
England obviamente perturba a Neil Pennyweight con sus constantes ofertas.
You had one bidder who really wanted all 6 sets of those windows, and I was only interested in 1 set of the small ones.
475, 5, sold for $475, 2 times the money, bidder number 389.
Los buscadores de antigüedades arquitectónicas Anne y Steve Ainsley tienen 3 reglas sencillas a aplicarse en una subasta.
Number 1 is you gotta love it. If you don't love it, why are you buying it? And number 2 is you gotta have a place for it. If you don't have a place for it, it ends up in a storage. And number 3 is you have to be able to comfortably afford it. If you violate any of those rules, you pay for it.
Who'll give me $1,500? That's all 3 pieces for $1,500.
Tras cesar las ofertas, los Ainsley pudieron adquirir este distintivo juego de jardín por la suma de $850.
We purchased some iron gates, which we're planning to probably put in some sort of garden situation. It's like a 3-piece gate with transom, and they're just real classic. We thought they'd look really good outside.
You're 2.5, but 275.
Daniel McCauley vino de Ohio para comprar piezas arquitectónicas. Logró comprar un elemento que deseaba tener por $850.
I bought a pair of entry doors, oversized, stained, jeweled, and with windows in them. They're really oversized and they're very heavy. Seems to be from a church. I have maybe buyer's remorse sometimes, but I think the value was there.
7, sold 675, 157.
Después de horas de batallas de ofertas con Ken England, los Pennyweight resultan victoriosos.
Picked up some nice hurricane crystal candles, electrified candles, which are nice, and a tulip lamp. I think that was $195. That was a steal. We're pleased. We got the stained glass that we really came to get. We were lucky to get the 2 pieces that matched, and so we're happy. We're both pleased.
¿Y el precio?
It's pretty much what I expected. I was hoping to get the pair for $1,000, and that's exactly what I paid for the pair. Restored, those windows ought to go for close to $4,000, so I did real well.
36 and now 7. You're out. Sold 3,600. There's the money. Bidder 389.
England vino a conquistar y eso fue lo que hizo.
I got some fantastic world-class stained glass. I'm going to incorporate them in a ceiling. That's just a fabulous piece, one of a kind. And I was prepared to pay 3 times the price, so I got a deal.
Curiosamente, la estrella del espectáculo, el vitral con la figura del ángel, no fue a manos de Ken Gordon England. Otro postor adquirió la pieza por $18,000. Ahora, la tasadora Susan Goldberg está en busca de atractivas ofertas. Esta vez ayudará a una amiga a vestirse bien ahorrando cada centavo. ¿El desafío? Un límite de $100 por fabulosa ropa antigua. Descuentos.
One of the things I love about Alice and Annie's in North Hollywood is that it's always dress-up time. And this is my friend Kim. We're going to get her dressed for this evening with an eye towards something that we'll appreciate in value. Got any ideas?
I've got a lot of ideas.
I can see that.
If you're just starting out, I think a good way to do it is let's try every decade. Let's try something in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. See what you like, see what appeals to you, and then kind of go from there.
Oh, that sounds great. So look at Kim. Now this is the 20s. Okay, I pulled some 20s accessories. Let's see the slip. Oh, yeah. Da-da-da-da-da-da-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Now, she told me it's $165 for the dress only. Of course, I know we can do better than that. It's a little much. Although, although you do look great. Let's see something different.
What do you think?
Okay, now this is 40s. Now, I think that it's missing one thing, because when you go out at night, you would need something. I did find this. It's a little pricey, but we know that Annie's flexible. So let's see. This is a beautiful stole. Let's see what that looks like. That is so glamorous. You know, the dress says $55.
How much is this guy?
Well, that says $110, but you know what? It really is terrific. I love it on you. Now, for this next outfit, I wanted to see sort of a 50s look. I love the look, I really do. And the pearls really make it, and the hat is great. It looks terribly expensive.
It is.
It is. The dress is at $85. But how much is the hat? I think there's a price tag in the hat. What does she want for that? Whoa, $130 for the hat.
A little over.
Yeah, let me see without that. Now, is this something you'd feel comfortable going out in tonight?
You know, I think it's a little much.
Let me see something else.
What do you think?
Well, I have landed in the 60s in Camelot, folks. Doesn't that look great?
The hat?
And this is, well, it's $135. I bet we could get it.
But it's a coat.
Yeah, let's see
dress.
what's going on back there. Oh, very nice. Wow, that's very glamorous. Now, would you feel comfortable wearing something like that out?
I kind of feel like I'm wearing my mother's clothes.
It's a little sofa. Of everything that we've tried on today, my favorite was the 40s look.
Pink and black.
The pink and black.
I think the pink and black.
All right, now we got to get down to the real nitty-gritty. We're here to make the deal. You have this priced at $55, but what I want to do is talk to you about all the things we want and then get down to business, okay? We loved this slip, which is actually a great idea. Somebody can actually wear this as a gown, an evening.
Absolutely.
Okay, so somebody can wear this as a dress. Okay, so Kim fell in love with these two pieces here, and this was at $55, and this is at $54. That's a little bit over where we're at, but I want to talk to you about an idea I had about the stole. What is your thought about renting us this stole for the one night only?
You know, I'm happy to do that. I rent to the studios, and if you're really careful with it and you look like you would just adore it, I'd be happy to.
Well, I think that might be the move. All right, so then, of course, I'm not leaving without something for myself because, you know, you don't have the Ethel Merman clothing collection here, so I can't wear any of these tiny clothing. But I notice you have what I love. You have old oil paintings of flowers, and that's actually something that I collect. There's one up high on the wall.
I believe it's marked at 45?
45. All right, so then we have that at 45, we have that at 55, and that at 54. And who cares what that adds up to? Can you take 100 for all of it?
Absolutely.
All right. And Kim is going to be styling this evening out in Hollywood, borrowing the stole and starting her own vintage antique clothing collection.
A continuación, lúgubres recuerdos de épocas de segregación capturan el espíritu colectivo del arte negro estadounidense. Al regreso, en la presente edición de El Coleccionista Incurable. Es tiempo de que usted sea el experto. Una guitarra Fender fue autografiada por invitados musicales, incluso Gladys Knight y dos de los Backstreet Boys, cuando ¿Quién quiere ser millonario? Organizó una edición de estrellas del rock como invitados. ¿Cuánto se pagó en eBay por esta guitarra generosamente autografiada? ¿Fue A, $3,000, B, $6,500 o acaso C, $9,000? La respuesta al regreso. ¿Cuál es su opinión de experto? ¿Cuál fue la mejor oferta por una guitarra Fender autografiada por los invitados de la edición con estrellas del rock de ¿Quién quiere ser millonario? A, $3,000, B, $6,500 o C, $9,000. Es un experto si eligió B. Se pagaron $6,500 por el instrumento autografiado. Patrocinada por el Hard Rock Café y vendida en eBay, la guitarra exhibe no solo las firmas de estrellas de la música como Jim Simmons de Kiss, también contiene la firma de un no rockero, el anfitrión del programa, Regis Philbin. Regresamos con el programa. Nuestro siguiente incurable espera que su extraordinaria colección de arte encienda la pasión de las personas por evocar el pasado de Estados Unidos. Desde recuerdos de la esclavitud hasta clásicos de la publicidad, demos un vistazo a esta colección privada única. Arte negro estadounidense.
Number 42, Jackie Robinson. I have a dream.
Desde grilletes de esclavo y anuncios de segregación hasta líderes legendarios, los recuerdos poderosos y evocativos del pasado racial de Estados Unidos están muy presentes en los miles de raros objetos que llenan el departamento de Leonard Davis en Nueva York.
Am I an incurable collector? Boy, okay. Yeah, I am an incurable collector. Many years ago, I thought I was just doing this for fun, but now we recognize that these items are valuable and a part of the African American experience, some joyous and some painful. And like an archaeologist, I am out there every day digging in the sand, coming up with bones of whatever happened. What's this? And what inspired me to start collecting was realizing the lack of black imagery in people's homes. I'm a fashion designer, and when I first got my apartment, I didn't really want to have African art in particular. I really wanted African American. I didn't realize I was making my job more difficult because it's not as easy to find. Okay, I'll take it. You sure you didn't want to do 12? It's not black memorabilia. Memorabilia sort of trivializes what this is. This is really Americana. These are actual images that people came to believe were what African American people were like or looked like or act like.
Los más de 400 recipientes de galletas son el centro de su histórica colección.
Typically, all the black cookie jars are Mammy cookie jars. And then, as jars became sets, you would get the Mammy and the chef to match. No one ever thought they were going to be collectible items. I've had to juggle a lot of times and decide, okay, I think I'll pay the gas bill and the light bill and 2 cookie jars. This is the Weller cookie jar set, which is one of the more valuable jars. Only 144 sets of these jars were made. The set could be worth anywhere upwards from $8,000 to $10,000.
Aunque no lo crean, Leonard le compró el recipiente de galletas y la tetera a un distribuidor de antigüedades por solo $150.
I was so thrilled.
Leonard también aprecia sus recipientes antiguos, que reflejan las imágenes extremas que una vez vendieron los productos estadounidenses.
I found one of the most important items in my collection in a restaurant on a shelf, the Green River Whiskey statue. They paid $75 for it, so I gave them $100 for it, but it's worth around $300.
La imagen predominante en la pasión de Leonard por estos productos es la de la tía Jemima.
These products sort of harken back to that time period when blacks were thought of as good cooks. Here, Aunt Jemima is standing there winking at her and telling her, aren't you thrilled that you used this product? It's as if I cooked it. This is the actual Aunt Jemima stove. It's the rarest and hardest piece to get of the Aunt Jemima collectibles. The person who was depicting Aunt Jemima at the time would come and bring the stove with her to the store. She'd be dressed in her Aunt Jemima costume, and she could actually cook the pancakes on the stove.
Hoy, estos artículos de la tía Jemima podrían valer entre $3,000 y $5,000. Ahora, en el otro extremo de la colección de Davis, las imágenes de celebridades también son comunes en la atestada habitación de Leonard.
I always have just loved Josephine Baker, her courageousness and her sense of style and clothing. I have some actual programs from the Folies Bergère where Josephine Baker gained her fame. And I have historical items too, Frederick Douglass, George Washington Carver. And then on the lower end, price-wise, have celebrity dolls, which is something that I'm excited about because it's really difficult to find black celebrity dolls. I paid $75 for this G.I. Joe Colin Powell doll in '98. But now that he is Secretary of State, this is worth $300. Collectors, are you listening? Get this doll.
De todos sus objetos coleccionables, uno le llega a Leonard a lo más profundo.
I was inspired early on with an item that I had gotten from my grandmother. It's a Pullman Porter, and he's holding 2 pieces of luggage. A book of matches would fit into there, and on this side, a package of cigarettes. If I had to get rid of everything else. I would never part with this.
Ahora, como editor colaborador de la guía de precios de este arte, Leonard espera ilustrar e inspirar a otros coleccionistas incurables como él.
At some point, I would like to start doing exhibits to try to share that this should never happen again. But could I ever give up my collection completely? No. Do I want to be buried with the collection? Yes.
Ahora iremos en busca de algo más contemporáneo que coleccionar y con posibilidades de aumentar el valor en el futuro. Estos son los coleccionables del mañana de esta semana. Coleccionables del mañana. En 1995, Paul Frank comenzó a diseñar billeteras y artículos similares en su garaje. En mucho menos de una década, la demanda por sus diseños como Julius el simio ha aumentado tanto que muchos de sus productos tienen una vida de estante de solo unos cuantos meses. Esta billetera, una de las primeras creaciones de Paul, se puede encontrar por cerca de $100. Eso es 4 veces su precio original de $22. Este bolso, introducido en la Navidad del 2000, no es económico. Se vendía en tiendas por unos $80, pero hoy se podrían gastar más de $250,000. Desde diseños de Paul Frank hasta artículos tiki, llegó la hora de satisfacer sus tendencias tropicales. Populares por primera vez en los 40, estos coleccionables están haciendo un regreso a lo grande. En los 60 este jarro se daba como un obsequio en un hotel hawaiano. Si lo encuentra hoy le puede costar $35. Original de Nueva Zelanda, este recuerdo tiki fue tallado en los años 60. Entonces solo costaba un par de dólares, pero hoy podría valer 75. Tal vez esta poderosa diosa tiki sea una pieza contemporánea, pero ya que fue descontinuada, su actual precio de $100 seguramente aumentará. Para mayor información acerca de estos y otros coleccionables, visite nuestra página en internet. A continuación veremos una colección de algunas de las piezas de época más excepcionales jamás elaboradas, con un valor de más de $100,000 al regreso en esta edición de El Coleccionista Incurable. Regresamos. Estoy en el hogar de Wheeler Carroll, quien tiene otra colección de recuerdos de Hollywood. Esta es una muestra de algunos de los 600 artículos que representan producciones de libros, cine y televisión de la Caldera del Diablo, guías de televisión, anuncios publicitarios y originales de dirección artística, etiquetas de puros de Bélgica y la partitura de la banda original de la cinta protagonizada por Lana Turner. Esta es una novela autografiada por todos los miembros del elenco de la película estrenada en 1957. Una asombrosa colección. Nuestra siguiente coleccionista se ha pasado la vida reuniendo cientos de muñecas pelirrojas. Llenó una habitación con encantadores recuerdos de la niñez. Disfrutemos de esta maravillosa colección. Extraño y maravilloso. Sally Love tiene más de 200 muñecas Raggedy Ann y Andy. Le gusta llamarlas bebés.
This was mine in the 50s. Probably 6th grade maybe I got her. She's original apron, the original dress.
Sally siempre ha sido una apasionada de estas muñecas, pero su increíble colección comenzó con este raro artículo, una muñeca que tenía la nariz triangular, pero con colores más oscuros y que llevaba un pañuelo en la cabeza.
I did my research and she turned out to be beloved Belindy. It was highly desirable, very sought after, and very few ever show up. I bought her for $160, and now you can just add another zero. She's worth $1,600 easily.
Nacida en 1915, Raggedy Ann fue creada por el cuentista Johnny Gruelle. Enormemente populares entonces, las muñecas aún se fabrican hoy en día, pero a Sally le gustan las primeras versiones.
I would say this corner has a mixture of handmade dolls. You can tell by the fabric, you can tell by the noses. Some have black outline that would make them definitely look older. These look like sisters. They look very, very ancient, and these are really old. The faces are made of oilcloth. They're probably from the 30s.
Sally dice que aparte de la apariencia, hay una forma más segura de saber la edad de las muñecas Raggedy Ann. Las aprieta. Los primeros modelos estaban rellenos de algodón y otras fibras naturales, mientras que las versiones posteriores contienen sintéticos.
The early ones are very, very precious. They're delicate, so you have to be very careful with them because water, moisture, starts to make the cotton expand. This one has sawdust in it. If you undo the collar, look at the date. Some lady made it for her granddaughter in 1938, and I just feel so fortunate to be able to have her.
Aunque Sally ama a todos sus bebés, admite que tiene unos cuantos favoritos, como estos modelos de tamaño natural con un precio original de $500. Sally dice que hoy pueden llegar a valer $2,000.
These are 6 feet tall. Store displays, absolutely wonderful. I love them. If I ever needed to go to a party and dress up in Raggedy Ann, I could just put on her clothes. It would work.
Pero Sally no solo colecciona muñecas. También tiene más de 2,000 piezas de joyería y hermosos objetos coleccionables de bakelita. Al regreso, la experta en antigüedades Usha Subramanian visita la subasta de anticuarios de Nueva York para observar la colección Sandberg. 400 piezas de época que son maravillas visuales y mecánicas. Relojes maravillosos.
The Sandberg watch collection, estimated over $10 million, features some of the most remarkable and oldest timepieces.
It's significant because it represents 30 years of collecting of one of the major famous businessmen in the world.
We have here a fantastic piece. It's a musical automaton that's also a spyglass. This piece was made in Geneva in the early part of the 19th century. The decoration is 18-karat gold. It's set with seed pearls, and it's also very finely enameled. We're going to turn the watch, and we're going to see the clock face appear with some elaborate decoration around it. And then we get to the automaton scene there. Look how detailed the enameling is. Can we see the waterfall work in there?
Oh, yeah.
Yes? Look at that. And then you could see all these different types of ships, and oh my goodness, there's a swan there. I can't believe it. And it's not only a watch and a musical instrument, but it's also a spyglass.
Yes, exactly.
3 in 1. That's
3 in
amazing.
1.
This is truly a fantastic find. Personally, I like the music it makes. I'm so excited. We have here a pair of pendant watches in the shape of pistols. They were used to dispense perfume in the most unusual way. You actually cock the pistol and then you pull the trigger and you can see this floret coming through the end. It's so imaginative. I was so taken by these pendant watches because I couldn't believe that they were watches, but they are in fact hidden in a mechanism by the base. And look at the detail on this work here. The colors are very strong. It's that beautiful sapphire blue and then the ruby red. It's magnificent. This is the first pair ever to come to auction. What I love about these watches is the element of fantasy. We have a fantastic piece here. It's my personal favorite. It's an amphora-shaped watch, which means vase-shaped. Again, made in Geneva in the early part of the 19th century, and only 2 are known to exist in the world. The work on it is spectacular. The seed pearls that decorate it are on both sides. Something else that's amazing about it is the enameled painting on either side. It looks like each of the scenes could be in a frame by themselves. We're going to open this piece and we're going to hear that it also makes music.
Oh yes, you have an automaton and music.
Oh my goodness. These are unbelievable, and that they're still working today. This really is a spectacular piece.
¿Se pregunta por cuánto fueron vendidas estas exquisitas piezas a algunos coleccionistas muy afortunados? El valor de este artículo se estimaba entre $120,000 y $160,000. El precio de venta fue casi $193,000. El valor del par de relojes de pistola se estimaba entre $200,000 y $300,000. El precio final fue casi $352,000. Lo mejor de la subasta fue el ánfora, estimada entre $120,000 y $160,000. El precio final fue más del triple, más de $523,000. Son precios astronómicos, pero se trata de 3 antigüedades realmente excepcionales. Para mayor información acerca de cualquiera de los coleccionables de hoy, visite nuestra página en internet. Al regreso, nuestros coleccionables de la semana, antigüedades rústicas.
In the most valuable paint colors, blue is very desirable. Red is probably the most common.
Algunos consejos de un coleccionista que tiene una granja llena de fabulosos ejemplos de muebles pintados, cerámica y colchas de siglos atrás. Al regreso, en esta edición de El Coleccionista Incurable. Regresamos con El Coleccionista Incurable. Esta es una muestra de la colección de Wheeler Carroll de más de 10.000 discos de bandas sonoras originales de películas. Este es un disco que no salió al mercado de El Candidato del Miedo. Este es un disco de Nace un Niño, original de Bernard Herrmann, compositor. Wheeler también tiene la banda sonora original de Blancanieves y los 7 Enanos. Es la banda sonora original, no una regrabación. Vaya tesoros. En fin, ahora, nuestro siguiente coleccionista también busca obras auténticas. Siente una gran pasión por objetos country coleccionables. Es una clase de colección que se ha hecho sumamente popular y por eso es nuestro rubro favorito de esta semana. Clásicos rústicos.
When we were looking for the farmhouse, we started looking at modern homes, but I could not possibly imagine living in these houses. There was nothing I could do to them to make them comfortable for me. I like the link with history, the past, the feeling of old. I'm definitely a diehard Incurable collector.
Con una granja en Pensilvania llena de antigüedades originales de los siglos XVIII y XIX, la coleccionista Michelle Dodge sabe que la manía actual por estos tesoros rústicos no es tan auténtica como ellos mismos.
I've seen the market go crazy. People who are buying formal furniture are buying painted furniture now. The prices have gone to a point where I can't even believe what people are getting.
I was interested in this peg rack because I love the old surface and I need a peg rack for some Amish pieces I have.
Para Michelle, estos populares muebles pintados son la piedra angular de cualquier colección de antigüedades rústicas.
I call it high country painted furniture. High means it's not too primitive, it's not too rough. Most of the surface is a good or a great painted surface. In the most valuable paint colors, blue is very desirable. Red is probably the most common and least expensive. Our family room is filled with my teal blue furniture and my favorite blanket chest. The red paint was dry scraped off to get to the original blue. These are shoe feet, and it's unique that they're still on.
Este cofre puede llegar a valer más de $2,000. Para poder preservar tales tesoros, Michelle ofrece algunos consejos.
Try to keep them out of direct sunlight. Don't use polish, don't use wax very often, and just wipe with a damp cloth. It's the best thing you can do.
Le puede agregar más color a su colección con antiguas piezas ornamentales.
I have hooked rugs hanging and on the floors. They go well with the color, I find. And can be less expensive than a painting to decorate your wall, aside from loving the look of them.
Otras habitaciones de la casa de Michelle albergan colecciones rústicas más distintivas.
The Amish room was based around a quilt that I purchased. It's a 19th century Amish quilt, and it is velvet, silk, cotton, and wool. It has a lot of texture and color, and it's quite rare. The quilt in full retail price could be $8,000 to $12,000.
La alcoba principal de Michelle está adornada con una cama de cuerdas de Pensilvania, un espejo de pilares y una muñeca antigua en una cuna de madera. También se pueden mezclar diversos estilos rústicos, como se puede ver en el esplendoroso comedor antiguo de Michelle.
The dining room table is Pennsylvania Dutch, and it's walnut top, and it is quite rare.
La mesa del comedor de Michelle del siglo XVIII puede valer entre $15,000 y $16,000. Con precios tan altos, Michelle le advierte a los coleccionistas que es muy posible hallar fraudes sofisticados.
We have two comb-back Windsor armchairs. One is approximately 5 to 7 years old, and one is about 225 years old. This happens to be the real chair on my left. The reproduction in the fan is chipped a little bit, hand chipped, and in the reel it's smooth. And that's one of the giveaways here because you wouldn't see the chipping in an old chair.
you're looking for shrinkage, old wood should shrink. This perfect round shape would turn elliptical, and you want to check for that. This chair could go for up to maybe $20,000. This chair's worth about $1,500.
¿Cuán sabio es afectar su presupuesto para comprar antigüedades rústicas?
Right now, it's at least stable to buy. I don't think we'll go down in price, and it's a good investment.
Michelle dice que estos recipientes son opciones accesibles para nuevos coleccionistas.
You can buy a piece for $200, depending on the rarity of the pieces, but they're still decorative and attractive at a lower price. Sweet. Oh, I love that. That would be nice.
Para encontrar una amplia gama de antigüedades rústicas coleccionables, Michelle suele asistir a eventos especiales como las muestras del Center City y Filadelfia, donde se exhiben algunos de los más delicados artículos estadounidenses.
This is my favorite hook rug that I've seen. I love it. Some more painted baskets that would add to my collection of 5. I'd like to make it 6. Beautiful and very rare. The size is huge and desirable. And what I like to see is a nice painted finish. This is priced at $2,600. It's worth every penny. This chair is beautiful.
Yeah, we have to show that it has a wonderful tiger stripe mahogany in there.
Michelle no solo es una coleccionista rústica incurable, también trabaja para un distribuidor de antigüedades. ¿Quién mejor para decirles a los coleccionistas que esta tendencia en particular aún se traduce en altos precios?
I'm thankful I bought when I did, things I couldn't afford now. And we don't know what will happen. I think that's the rule, no matter what, to buy something you love. So in case things change, at least you have something you truly love in your home.
En fin, ¿Michelle lo ha hecho pensar en una colección rústica antigua propia? Estas son las opiniones de nuestros expertos acerca de 3 maneras económicas de adquirir clásicos rústicos. La opinión de los expertos. Número 3. Cestos antiguos. No se lo diga a los granjeros del siglo XIX, pero este cesto de patatas bien conservado puede ser suyo por menos de $400. Por este en forma de melón con su tejido firme y superficie pintada deberá pagar $450 o más. Por este raro cesto doble que se puede colgar deberá estar dispuesto a pagar entre $3,000 y $4,000. Nuestra elección número 2 son las vasijas de cerámica. Objetos como este jarro del siglo XIX comienzan costando unos $150. Este, cubierto de tulipanes y firmado por el fabricante de Filadelfia Richard Remy, vale $650. Una vez en meros recipientes, estas vasijas coleccionables pueden adornar cualquier habitación. ¿Y las primeras de la lista? Cubetas. Estos antiguos recipientes de tiendas de abarrotes ahora constituyen artículos coleccionables. Esta cubeta verde fue repintada para que usted pueda adquirirla por $250. Esta, más grande, azul y mucho mejor, y esta con botones de marca y muy hermosa, pueden costar de $600 a $800. No es solo otra bonita cubeta. Estos recipientes también pueden ayudar a ocultar su colección de antigüedades rústicas del mundo moderno. Para mayor información acerca de la opinión de nuestros expertos y más, visite nuestra página en internet.
Willard, I want to thank you for letting us see your collections. You are definitely an incurable collector.
Thanks, John.
Now, you look around here, and I see it's just like everything. What could you possibly want next?
I always say that the rarest thing is whatever I don't have.
Yeah, I know. I can identify with that. You know, I noticed in your other room you've got like 10,000 soundtrack LPs. I'm wondering if you've got this little-known album, it's sort of an esoteric album from a very hilarious buddy movie called Second Sight, and it starred Bronson Pinchot and, well, a relatively well-known actor.
No, I don't, John, but I'll add that to the list.
Oh, good. Yeah, let me know if you find it. Good luck in your search. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.